evening, and welcome to a special episode of At the Buzzer podcast. I am your co-host, the man, the myth, and the legend. Yes, that's me, King Will.
And it's your girl Jess.
And we have a special guest with us today. So some of y'all know we had our episode where I was telling everybody that Kobe was not in my top 10 of all time players. Seems to have wilded up the Kobe fans a little bit. They was ready to challenge me. So here's our first challenger. We got our special guest host, Mo Cheeks. How you doing, my man?
What's up, brother? Thank you for having me on here as well as Jess and I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as I said, about 3 weeks ago, I did not have Kobe in my top 10. I think Kobe is a very good player, a very excellent player. I didn't say he was sorry or garbage or anything like that. He's just not in my top 10, and I have my reasons. But I'm gonna give the floor to the Kobe fan, the Kobe stand right here. I'm gonna say, Mo Cheeks. Why do you think King Will is absolutely nuts and crazy by not having Kobe in his top 10 of all time?
I mean, the whole argument against Kobe is flawed, right?
Okay.
We went through the whole piece that he had to have Shaq. That's a disapproval. Even if you take Shaq out, half of your top 10 is flawed. And even if you keep him in there, right, you got number three and four with Magic and Kareem. That's extremely flawed because neither one of them championships without each other. So to say that Kobe had to use help in his last two is kind of that's a little off base.
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm a Kobe fan. So Kobe's in my top five.
Top five.
Top five.
William,
10.
be respectful. William.
I won't take outside the top 10.
You won't take outside. Okay, so I can definitely understand. So basically, with your argument of Magic and Kareem is Magic and Kareem basically had each other and they won the championship together, and you saying Kobe had no help. Now
I won't say no help.
Okay.
I was gonna say
the way that you framed it.
Okay.
You had to have a lot of help, and it's like 6 people in your top 10 that had a lot of help.
I mean, I'll say it like this: Kobe did need a lot of help. So that time, everybody. So let's talk about the first championships. Like I said, he had Shaq. I'm sorry, I can't go with no argument. He had Shaq. Shaq was the most dominant player at that time. So we're going to talk about the two he won against. That was against Boston, if I'm correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had the best. He had the best center at the time, Andrew Bynum. He had the best power forward. Hold on, I won't say best center. The second best center, because the best center was Dwight Howard. Let me say that. He had the second best center. He had the best power forward in the league in Paul Gasol. He had a sixth man of the year in Lamar Odom.
Best power forward?
Second best power forward. Tim Duncan was there.
First best forward.
Tim Duncan was the first one. I'll say Tim Duncan's the first best power forward.
So over Kevin Garnett, over Chris Bosh.
At that time, yes. You talking about Boston Celtics Kevin Garnett? That was not Minnesota Timberwolves Kevin Garnett. No, that wasn't. That Kevin Garnett was not the offensive force that Paul Gasol was. He was mainly on the defensive side. Boston got their points off of Paul Pierce. And I'm a Kevin Garnett fan. All right?
My head hurt.
Oh, don't get your head hurt, Jazz. You might as well go and take off the glasses because, yes, Will Bayless is here. He also had the sixth man of the year in Lamar Odom. Okay? He also had the most veteran point guard in the league in Derek Fisher. Like, I won't say he's one of the best, but he was one of the longest standing point guards. He had the greatest one of the greatest coaches of all time in Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson, when he was already established. See, me and Jess went through this because she tried to say Popovich. But Tim Duncan and Popovich grew with each other. It wasn't like Tim Duncan's struggling. We need a good head coach. Oh, let's get Greg Popovich. When Greg Popovich was hired, no one heard of him.
That's a good point.
Him and Tim Duncan grew up with each other. Kobe, after he did not win a couple of times, come begging for Phil Jackson after he got talking all that trash about him on that book. We all know Kobe.
No, that was Shaquille. Shaquille wanted him.
We got to stop there because Gary Vitti was already going to get fired. So it wasn't a beg, and Phil Jackson was on the way out. It wasn't a beg. It was hey, we got talent here. And it was mainly Mitch Kupchak saying, hey, come here and vote for us. So that's ridiculous. And then this whole thing, you had like Greg Popovich, just because he wasn't known to everyone, he was an assistant coach for a very long time. He grew up in his own system. He created his own system of basketball. And the fact that you keep going back to Tim Duncan when the man won a championship with Kawhi Leonard, who I would argue is 10 times better than Lamar Odom.
Okay, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Cool. I won't say 10 times. I won't say 10 times. It's a little far.
Maybe five.
Maybe 5. 10's a little far. 10's a little far.
2 championships. David Robinson. So the fact that Tim Duncan just is walking around with no help, and you talked about owning a decade. You said, first of all, your eras are kind of screwed up. You put like 2 years on each era. That's not an era. The decade was Jordan. Then it was Then it was LeBron. It's really not even LeBron, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
However, Tim Duncan won 3 championships from 2000 to 2010. And Tim Duncan had a lot of help.
Dude, hold on. He might need a lot of help, but again, Kobe won them 5. He won 3 of them with Shaq. When Shaq was the most dominant.
Why does that matter?
Hold on.
One second of all, every time,
I'll give you the David Robinson argument. David Robinson. Are we trying to act like that was 1990 David Robinson? That was old man David Robinson. And I need to check because I think he only won 1 with David Robinson.
He only won 1.
He won 2. I looked it up last night. Don't worry.
Okay. That wasn't. I wasn't sure.
He was there in 2003.
I wasn't sure.
2003.
Y'all can tell me. Oh, he was there.
But hold on.
Oh, okay.
So when Kobe and Shaq was playing together,
he play that much.
Who was the best? Who was the best? It was Shaq was the best doing them 3 NBA finals. When David Robinson and Tim Duncan were playing together, who was the reason why the Spurs won the finals? It wasn't because of David Robinson. Oh no, it was because of Tim Duncan. That's why I said that was.
Yeah, he's the franchise player. He should.
I said, okay, and I'll give you Kobe, and I'll give you Kobe fans this. Kobe could share that era with Tim Duncan, but I just don't like when people just say, "Oh, that's just the Kobe era," and just flat out. He need to share it at least with Tim Duncan and at least with Shaq because they kind of shared that era together.
Kobe was just better than him. Kobe was just better than him in that era.
Kobe was the best player in the NBA from 2000 to 2010. Shaquille O'Neal was the most dominant player.
There's a difference. He's right.
2010. There was no player on the planet that could guard Shaquille O'Neal. Just like Shaq couldn't guard Hakeem Olajuwon in that era. He got ripped to shreds. When Hakeem Olajuwon went away, there was nobody in that era that could guard Shaq. It doesn't matter what era you give Kobe. There's nobody that can ever guard him, offensively and defensively, which is another flaw in your roster.
So if can't nobody guard him, how was the Detroit Pistons able to shut him down to 38% in that NBA Finals when they lost to Detroit? That's how Tayshaun Prince got his name. He shut him down.
You have an older Kareem Karl Malone who did not do anything. Gary Payton did nothing. Shaquille O'Neal didn't play half the season, and he was hurt when he was in the playoffs. You only had to key on one player, which is exactly what they did. They forced the offense through Kobe because Shaq was hurt. The only playing time that they could give him was when he was not hurt, and that was very, very rare that season. And
I don't know if Shaq was hurt. Was it Shaq was hurt, or was it because Kobe was not getting that ball to Shaq? It was more because Shaq was not getting that. But he was also because they was not giving that ball to Shaq. That's when the Shaq Kobe really boiled over.
It's both. I think y'all both right on that one.
Shaq was out of shape. He was hurt.
He was always out of shape.
He was not as dominant. Shaq is typically a dude that gets positioned immediately. Ben Wallace was the defensive player of the year for a reason, and it just wasn't that easy. Not that he wouldn't have dominated him if he was healthy, but that year he just wasn't healthy. It was the same thing the year before that when the Spurs won the championship. Shaq was hurt a majority of that season, or at least a third of the season, and he just wasn't as efficient. So Kobe had to take more of the offense, which, of course, we blame Kobe for not winning the championship those 2 years when they got beat by the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. Cool beans. They got beat by Detroit the next year, but we don't give Kobe the credit. Shaq was toweling out in the finals against Reggie Miller his first year in the finals, and he scored 30 plus.
Okay.
Credit for that.
I get it. Okay.
But Will, you're saying that the one-on-one matchup, you were saying Tayshaun shut down Kobe. I'm trying to understand because Kobe he still averaged like 28, right?
But he shot 37% from the field.
Okay.
I mean, and second of all, he shot a lot of shots. I mean, he shot a lot of shots. Well, I hope you are averaging 28 points if you're shooting the ball 40 times a game. He wasn't shooting 40. I mean, he wasn't shooting 40 times, but let's keep it real. That was one of Kobe's issues. Now, I want to get on Mo Cheeks about something though. So you say between 2000 to 2010,
it was
Kobe Bryant was the best player in the league? With LeBron James coming in 2003? I don't know if I can agree with you with this.
LeBron wasn't the best player until like 2009.
I say 2008.
No, 2008 again. Kobe, his Kobe year before when he got to the finals for the first time.
So, hold on, let me make sure because 2000. What year? The year he took Cleveland to the finals when he scored 25 on Detroit, was that 2008 or was that 2009? That was 2007. Okay, so when LeBron he did that, I think he took over the throne of being the best player. When he did that 25 on Detroit and took that, did you see that team he took to the finals?
Yes, that team was boo-boo. Right. We all know that.
All right, listen, first of all, we can't just go off of what the team structure was.
True.
Right? It's all about who you're playing with. LeBron James is a passer by nature. He was loaded with shooters. Ilgauskas is even a mid-range shooter.
Okay.
Whenever you put shooters on the team with LeBron James, he's going to do well, which is why they also beat the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics in 2000 when they had Shaq in 2008 or 2009, 2010 season.
Mm-hmm.
They beat that team. Yeah, 2009, 2010. They beat that team because that team was loaded with shooters. As long as you have shooters around, even if they're just decent shooters, you shoot over 40% from the three-point line on a LeBron James team, you're going to go to the finals because he's a known passer, and you spread the floor, which gives him a lot more offensive juggernaut to his game. However, any team that he's played with that scrunches the floor, he does terribly. When he played the Spurs, which they should have lost the first year that they played the Spurs, but Greg Popovich made some moves.
He didn't have Tim Duncan in the game.
However, that whole series, even the same thing when they played the Golden State Warriors and they came back, they're 3-1. When Bogut went out and they started opening the floor up, he excels because he can now play his game. It's the same thing, but the difference between him and Kobe is there's no adjustment to Kobe's game. He can play with big or small. Doesn't really matter. LeBron James was not the best player until Kobe left that era because he hadn't matured yet. Kobe was the best player until 2006, and from 2007 to 2010, he was the most dominant player in the NBA. There was no weakness in his game. The only person that stopped Kobe was himself. That's why he owned that era. Tim Duncan started to get a little bit older, right?
Yes,
and he needed some additional help, whereas Kobe still had a lot of juice in his legs. And I will give Tim Duncan the benefit of the doubt. I do think he's probably at least top 3 power forwards of all time, if not number 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can agree.
But the difference was, I think Tim Duncan, his career, he didn't have the legs. His legs went out a lot quicker, and he needed a lot more help. He just understood how to pace himself. Because you got to remember, in those later years when he won the 2007 and 2014 championship, that dude didn't play half the season.
That's very true. That's very true.
Pop was very true. Everybody.
Very true. Okay, so let me ask you something. So you say you guys, I want to debate that. So first of all, when you talk about LeBron is a passer, look, and I'm not even a LeBron fan. So I know my brother probably watching this right now is like, I can't believe he's actually defending LeBron. But you said LeBron's passing ability is the reason why he passed Detroit. Then what is the 25 in the fourth quarter? Because that was all LeBron, who took over and dominated Detroit. He sent Detroit home by himself. He averaged like 34 points in that series.
Well, that's
so you
can't
can't
happen,
say
though.
you can't say it was his passing ability. Second of all, LeBron for the only finals I say he played terrible in was the one against Dallas. That's the one I say he has no excuse. But Andre Iguodala and Kawhi Leonard was getting Finals MVP for shutting LeBron down to 35 points a game in the NBA Finals.
Kawhi did better than Iggy.
But see, that's my thing though. You can't take it away from Kobe because he averaged over 30 points in the finals. But he got shut down because he shot more shots. LeBron absolutely shot more shots and had more turnovers in that final series. There's no such thing as shutting a great player down. But there is a such thing as getting them off of the X, making them do things that they're not.
That's very true.
And that's what Kawhi did.
That's what Kawhi did.
LeBron James to score.
Sort of did that.
The same thing. Bruce Bowen was forcing LeBron to score. The difference was Tayshaun Prince. It's easier for Tayshaun Prince to guard a Kobe, who's typically a jump shooter, and he's taller than Kobe, than for him at his size to try to guard LeBron James, who naturally wants to get to the cup. So when you play any great player, any dude on your top 10 or my top 10 in the fourth quarter, if you can take a team to the fourth quarter, if you're within 10 points, it's a game regardless. LeBron James does have that greatness to where once he gets to the fourth quarter and he's still in striking distance, you're in trouble, right? Okay. I will give that to LeBron at any point in time in his career. And that's the thing that he did have over Kobe throughout all of his career, right? Kobe learned to get that, and it wasn't until 2000, 2001 where he really got it to where it was like, oh, they're in the game, we're in trouble. LeBron had it as soon as he got out there, but that's because LeBron has better passing ability than Kobe does. So I will give that to LeBron on that notch.
Okay. Now, so go ahead, Jess.
No, I was going to ask Mo Cheeks, what makes Will's top 10 flawed? Because you was about to get into that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Well, to start, right, we're talking about Kareem and Magic. Let's go with Kareem.
Okay.
That was your number 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kareem, I got 3.
Kareem was number 3. Mm-hmm. He won 5 championships with Magic Johnson. He won 1 championship with Oscar Robinson.
Great point guards.
That's we're talking about the triple double king until what Russell Westbrook came along. So that is the fact that you put him over Kobe, right? But you said Kobe had to have a lot of help. I think that Magic Johnson, those two having each other is a lot of help. And let's not forget that they had Byron Scott on that team, Michael Cooper. They also brought in James Worthy, who I think is also better than Lamar Odom, which is he's probably better than everybody that Kobe had on his team, to include Pau Gasol.
Skill-wise, I guess that's a tough one.
This is me. I was guarding your guy, number 6 on the list, Larry Bird. And they won 2 championships against the Celtics. So are we going to say that that Pau Gasol is better than him when you just said that Pau Gasol is better than Kevin Garnett? So he should have been doing that to Kevin Garnett at that point in time.
Okay.
Right. Larry Legend, who we know that matchup between him and James Worthy, Larry Legend should win that matchup because he's better.
Yeah. I mean, he ate most of the time.
I mean, he did.
I mean, so did James Worthy. So
yeah,
because if Kareem doesn't have Magic, those 5 championships don't happen. If Magic doesn't have Kareem, vice versa, those championships don't happen. And I would also argue that if Kareem didn't have Oscar Robinson back in 71, 72, his championship wouldn't happen. So we wouldn't even
Wasn't that 78? Or they went in 72? I'm sorry.
72.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so what you saying basically is Kobe's 2 championships are worth more than Kareem's because he did it with less. And I'll give you that. You are not lying. The Lakers was low key loaded with Magic, even in the earlier days with Magic, Norm Nixon, Rambis coming off the bench, Kareem. You're not. And then they switched over to Byron Scott. They got James.
That was a loaded team.
So it definitely was a loaded team.
Even the Celtics team is loaded. The ones from the 80s. Those
get into that as well.
I mean, but
not as loaded as the Lakers, but they were loaded.
I'll say this: they wasn't as loaded as the Lakers because I think if you remove Magic or Kareem off them Lakers team, they might not win the championship, but they get to the playoffs. I think.
That's what
if you take Bird off them Celtics, they're not going to be as good. No, I mean, Mikal and Parrish really fed off of Bird. Man, yeah. Bird was the whole machine to the Boston Celtics team. Mikal, I ain't gonna say Mikal was good and Parrish was good. I'll say that, but I think Bird is kind of like to me how Tim Duncan did with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. They're so good, they raised the stock of those other players and they got to Hall of Fame type level. But if I think you remove Tim Duncan and Bird out of them situations, they wouldn't be able to play at them Hall of Fame levels.
Now, I agree that they wouldn't be able to play at Hall of Fame levels. Do I agree that they are not playoff teams? No. The Celtics are absolutely. This is the same team that used to drag the Bulls, the Pistons, like everybody in their way.
But that's because of Larry, though, right?
But that was because of Larry, though.
I mean, I think it is a lot of portion of it is Larry. I agree. However, that team, you take Larry out of that equation and they still make the playoffs. They might get beat 4-0, but this is the same Jordan team that took his team to the finals 6 times. And when he left, they went to the playoffs and got murdered with Scottie at the helm. Right? These are still playoff teams. There's never been a team
he made the second round. But I'm sure all y'all think Scottie overrated. So
I mean, don't get me on the Scottie Pippen.
Until Kobe came along, I don't think Scottie was overrated.
I mean,
the Portland Trailblazers, I think he was overrated. And
he was old. He was old then. He was like 37.
But no, he was the leader of that team.
That Portland team was loaded as well.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie, I was so mad the Lakers beat Portland because I was in love with Portland.
And that's my thing. They shouldn't have young Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Scottie, Steve Smith in his young age was on that team.
Young Z-Bo.
What's his name?
I don't think they won.
The
Sabonis. They had Sabonis, a young Z-Bo. I mean, that team was low.
That team was ridiculous, and they should have beat the Lakers. But you needed the tandem, right? You needed the tandem, and that's the point, right? Shaq is a phenomenal player. Hands down, phenomenal player. He's absolutely honestly, between him, Wilt, and probably Akeem, it's a toss-up as to where they go. I think all 3 of them are.
Shaq is in your top 10.
Shaq is in my top 10.
I was just wondering.
So let me ask. So what is your top 10? I want to hear your top 10.
Top 10. I'm a Kobe lover, so this is gonna come. Nobody's gonna like this, but MJ is the one.
Bring it.
Kobe is 2. LeBron is 3. Magic is 4. Kareem is 5. Bill Russell is 6.
Okay.
Hakeem is 7. Shaq is 8. Wilt is 9, and Steph is 10.
Okay.
So no Bird in top 10.
As much as I love Larry Legend, he came out of the top 10 after Steph's 4th championship.
Only to win MVP 3 times in a row.
I'm picking Larry's career. I don't care. I know Steph is the greatest shooter that ever come across like that. God is birth. But so I'm still putting Larry in my top 10. But Steph is right there. Steph is there.
I get it. Like Larry Bird was a double-double. He was just a walking double-double on any day, on any given day, right? Vision out of the wazoo, leadership phenomenal. However, I think that Steph is a very, very similar player, except smaller. And to me, what he has done with the team that he has is more, to me,
is
more impressive than Larry Bird's tenure, right? And the biggest key on that is Larry Bird never could see his potential. Larry Bird stayed injured. From the back spasms to the knee injuries, like he was.
But that started like in '89 when he started having the back issues. He stayed healthy, and then when he fell off his family roof is when he started having back issues.
Oh Lord, not the family roof, but
he fell off. He fell. That's how he hurt his back. He fell off his mom and dad's roof trying to repair it.
And I think that's an interesting story. I didn't know that. I think, to me, it's more impressive to me that Steph beat arguably the greatest of all time, right, in the championship twice. And Larry Bird, I don't think he ever really owned, right, the Lakers. He beat them once. I don't think he really ever owned them. I think the Lakers really took that. They took that decade. That decade was theirs, right?
I think Irvin will even admit that he made Irvin cry. He made Irvin cry after that won the championship, and he started calling him Tragic Magic. So I think he owned him for a second.
I don't know. That's tough. I think they both own each other.
But that's a great point of view, though.
That's a great point of view because it's kind of tough because there was a couple years they didn't play. I know one of the finals they lost to was to the 4-4-4 team, Philly. That's one year LA lost. And I know there was another year they didn't make it because they lost to the Rockets and Boston beat Rockets. I don't know. I think it was kind of a toss. So don't get it twisted. Bird gave LA fits.
No, I agree.
He gave him fits.
I 100% agree. But my thing is, I think that when Steph came into the league, when they became prominent, right? And this is also considering the fact that he had KD.
Mm-hmm.
This was a tough one. I think with him winning, him taking over the greatest shooter of all time, the amount of attention that he attracts just by running down the court, which is pretty much equivalent to Bird. But the fact that when he stepped into the championship era, he basically diluted everything that Bron had going on. Right?
That's true.
Whereas I don't know if Magic was really diluted. His greatness was diluted by Bird being in that era. But I think LeBron's greatness was diluted a little bit by Steph Curry.
Now, what I will say is this because it's in my head. I will say that, there's the Jordan era, then there's the Magic and, and then Kobe or whatever, and Timothy. But I will say that the thing that helps Jordan and them being the GOAT that for a lot of people is that LeBron kind of got, he's not like he had other people be great in his era. If you get what I'm saying, there's other people that have gone to leaps and bounds, and like Steph, like people be like, oh, it's LeBron. Oh, but then there's Steph, like, you know what I mean? And I'm just saying Jordan, it was just Jordan. Like I know there's Charles and Carl, but that's known as the Jordan. Okay, I'm just saying, guys. They were great. They were great, though.
They were great players.
They were great. I'm just saying, but they weren't on the level of like, I just know Jordan. Like, you know what I mean? Just something like that. Like LeBron got Steph and got so many other great players that won in his era. I'm just saying.
Hold on, Jess. I'm gonna have to kick back on that one now. Now, every year, you gotta think about it. Every year, we thought someone took LeBron's title. So that year, Steph, when they went 170, 72
he still won, though. He still beat them, though.
LeBron beat him, right? LeBron really shut everybody up and beat him, coming back 3-1.
That's true.
And I got to say like this. So does it matter? So we just going to excuse that Steph's career was in limbo for the first, 4 years? Because of the ankle injuries? Exactly. Bird dominated from day one. Even with the back injury, he still was a bad boy. He would still bust 45 on you and then go lay his fat self on the floor after busting 45 on you. My thing with LeBron, this is the reason why I put LeBron over Kobe. LeBron has the greatest and longest prime out of any athlete ever. Ever. When LeBron became number one, he stayed number one for the long. Even now at the age he is now, and still averaging 28, 29 points a game. I mean, Kobe at the end, all he could do was just really score. And, he was breaking down toward the end.
He was breaking down.
He was starting to break down. Now, the Achilles injury and all that was, withstanding. But you got to give LeBron respect that he has not had a major injury toward the end of the career. Right?
However, if Kobe took as many rest periods as LeBron did throughout the season, Kobe these injuries would not have been a problem for him.
That wasn't in his DNA, Kobe.
It's not, and that's why I think it's hard to judge that portion. I don't even take that into consideration. I do believe that LeBron has had the longest prime. I agree with that.
He does have the longest prime.
He is the most athletic basketball player that we have ever seen.
Yeah.
Greatness as far as like top 100.
Exactly.
I think he is definitely the most athletic. However, this started early in his career where this whole rest and recoup thing was a thing. Jordan never did that. Kobe never did that. You didn't see Magic and Bird, and like you never saw this happen. So the fact that Magic went 12 years, Bird went, I think he stopped before him. So it might have been like 10, 11 years, something like that. Right. These dudes didn't get to play these long seasons. Right. Whereas people like Kobe, when they played a season, it was an entire season. They played the entire playoffs, right? And I do also give LeBron the benefit of the doubt on that one because he played, right, so many playoff games, He did get a lot of rest, but the dude played more. He's played more playoff games, I'm sure, than any other player.
But that's true. But then also you got to give it to like this. LeBron is about to, in his career, number 1 in points, top 5 in rebounds. I believe not top 5 rebounds, top 5 in assists. I think he's going to be top 5 and top 10 in assists. I think he's going to be top 20 in the rebounds. Like, Kobe is a great player, but Kobe's issue has always been he's just been a scorer and he shoots the ball too much. Kobe is number 5 in turnovers in history. So, that's got to count for something, right? And Kobe, LeBron led weaker teams further than Kobe. When Kobe had a weaker team, what happened? They couldn't even make the playoffs. LeBron, I think them years Kobe them was not making the playoffs. You switch LeBron on the team. I think he could have took a Smush Parker them at least to the playoffs. because that comes with the playmaking skills. See, because the problem with Kobe is Kobe's just a shooter. He's just a scorer. LeBron, like you said, LeBron needs shooters. You surround him with some nobody shooters because he's a playmaker.
There was
he's
no shooters on that team, though.
And he raises the level.
That team had no shooters.
Smush Parker was going to make jump shots.
That 05-06
on there?
05-06?
LeBron, you put LeBron on that team, he could have took that team to the playoffs.
Matt Badinko was on that team.
He would have made. Hey, LeBron took Dellavedova to the finals. Now Matthew Dellavedova.
Dellavedova's better than Smush Parker.
He is. And he also had
Smush about to be refereeing games too.
No. Y'all gonna stop disrespecting Smush Parker now. Now Dellavedova is not better than Smush Parker. Now y'all gonna stop disrespecting Smush Parker. And if Kobe didn't have that crazy Mamba mentality, which I think ain't nothing but more Michael Jordan spirit commercialized, that's all it is. But he ran off Kwame Brown, messed him up. What happened with the team with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash? Failure, because he want to mess up Dwight Howard. But
Dwight was soft.
Who could play with Kobe though? Help the man. Work with the man.
Dwight even admitted he was soft at that time, and he couldn't handle it.
Put LeBron on there. I bet LeBron would have led that team to the championship.
I don't think he would have, to be honest with you. No, and then Steve Nash was hurt the whole season.
Oh, okay.
LeBron. The only team that had LeBron didn't even get to the finals when he had Shaq. When Shaq was in decent shape, he wasn't in great shape, but LeBron doesn't do well when there is a heavy post player. When he has a post player on with him.
That's a good point.
You gonna really count that Cleveland Cavaliers Shaq? That Cleveland Cavaliers Shaq was so cooked. He was so cooked.
He wasn't that bad. Now he was really cooked with Boston. With Boston,
he was cooked with Cleveland.
LeBron has always played better when the floor is open, when he can dish out. He cannot play with players that are in the paint, which is why he never asked for a big man like that.
I didn't realize that. He's never had like a legit big
man. The reason I hate going to this point, but I got to go to this point.
Go do it.
The legitimacy of LeBron's assist game is all predicated on imagination. The dude, he does not run a specific offense. The reason Kobe doesn't have a bunch of assists is the same reason Jordan doesn't have a bunch of assists. They played in a triangle for most of their career. The triangle isn't meant for one player to get a bunch of assists. It's an offensive scheme that puts certain players in certain positions, which is why you always see, and if the hockey assist was a stat, you would see the relevance of Kobe's game as well as Pau Gasol's game, right? These dudes they all averaged around 5 assists for a reason. There's an inside-out game that never ends with the player that started to play getting the assist. Whereas LeBron comes down, and the only big offensive piece that he's always had is a pick and roll. That's his thing. Just go to the pick and roll, right? He'll start off in the offense, and then like 10 seconds in, he'll hold the ball for 10 seconds, and then he'll go to a pick and roll and get one shooter open. Like, I'm not.
So hold on. I can't let him get away with that comment. First of all,
that was facts, though. That was actually facts.
You two really think the offense was preventing Kobe from passing the ball? Come on now. Kobe's draft profile said he was selfish. Like, come on, Kobe's draft profile said he was selfish. Now, come on, Kobe was not going to pass that ball. Kobe was never going to pass. They could have did the triangle. They could have did the Princeton offense. They could have did the motion offense. Kobe was going to shoot the ball $75 million during time.
There were times when he had 4. I remember one time he had like double-digit assists when he had to do it. He know how to pass the ball.
You mentioned Steve Nash. Number one, Dwight Howard was hurt that season. Number two, Steve Nash was old as dirt and couldn't guard a soul. He was getting ripped to shreds. But when Steve Nash went down with injury, Kobe averaged over 10 assists for the 30 games that he was gone.
I think that's what I'm talking about.
Kobe can pass. He's always been an offensive type of dude that will pass in the first half, and second half is his half. He's not a dude that's going to hold on to the ball. We love going over this. Kobe just wants to score and be selfish. Kobe started being selfish after 2004 when they lost the championship, when he had absolutely nothing. His team was in a rebuilding stage. For 2005, 2006, 2007, and 2008, there was really nothing on that team. That dude had nothing to play with. So, yeah, of course, I would too. If I'm the only thing that is on that team, Kwame Brown, you mentioned Kwame Brown.
I don't believe you mentioned him. I don't
flabbergasted. But like, come on, Kwame Brown was not it, bro.
William,
he couldn't catch a ball.
I mean, how kidding, man? I mean, Kobe was threatening a man's life every day. I'm just saying.
None of those teams were really good. None of those teams were even close to being good.
But all I'm just saying is, I still believe LeBron would have carried it because I don't give a darn. Even Kobe's worst teams was not worse than that team that LeBron carried to the championship. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, that's debatable.
I'm just saying that ain't even debatable. Name somebody on that Cleveland. I'm talking about the 07 team. Name someone. Someone.
Okay, Booby.
Oh, Booby Gibson. Okay.
Definitely better than Smush Parker.
Oh, God.
He was.
That's very true. That's very true. Booby was a bucket.
Oh, my God. Booby, everybody was better than Smush Parker, according to y'all, I guess.
Mo
Williams.
Mo Williams was actually, he could hit.
Mo Williams was a bucket.
Oh, man. Now he is a bucket. Oh, my God. Now this Cleveland Cavaliers team is the daggone 96 Bulls all of a sudden.
How about Zazal? How you say Zazal?
Ilgauskas
was straight. He was straight. He wasn't boo-boo.
He was better than Kwame Brown.
That is true. That is true.
Okay, he was better than Kwame Brown.
The one I'll give you is Lamar Odom was better than Larry Johnson or Larry Hughes.
It was Larry Hughes, yeah.
Lamar Odom was absolutely better.
Yeah, he was better than Larry Hughes, yeah.
I'm trying to think of someone else.
But once again, you're talking about a team. Kobe is carrying a team of non-shooters. There were no shooters on that team. I'll give you Sasha Vujacic.
Yeah.
Maybe. And he was a young cat in the game. Like, outside of that, there were no shooters. Actually, Vladimir Radmatovic.
Oh, yeah, Radmatovic. Yeah, did
one quarter and not playing the rest of the game.
So, William, do you think in the 2010 finals, I know you was rooting for Boston because you was a hater, but the fact of the matter is, do you felt like Ron Artest could be in this narrative that Ron Artest saved Kobe's legacy by hitting that three?
He did hit the big shot. He did hit the big shot though. I'm just saying.
So then Ray Allen saved LeBron James.
I'll be saying that too, but nah. I always want to kill that narrative, dude. He didn't save him, but don't get it twisted. He played a very important part.
No, Ron Artest played that whole season. He definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Now Ron Artest is better than.
People try to act like that Laker team that he led to the championship was like the Allen Iverson 2001 Sixers, which actually wasn't that bad either. They had a defensive player of the year, Dikembe Mutombo, on there. But I'm just saying, like, that was a good, and then they was the favorite to win. Yes, that was majority because of Kobe, but that was because it was a well-balanced team. It wasn't a bad
Which
team.
One?
The Lakers that won the championship, they was favorites.
Oh, no. I can't give you
I guess 09 they were, but Boston, I think people thought.
No, I'm saying they were the favorite in the West. They were favored because they were supposed to meet Boston in the finals. That was the thing. And then, because remember that, because then what happened? When LeBron went to Miami, we were supposed to get Kobe versus LeBron. Only Kobe didn't hold his part.
No, LeBron didn't.
No.
No, I'm talking about when LeBron went to Miami. That was supposed to be.
But say the first part first, right? Okay. LeBron didn't hold his part when he had the best team in the NBA.
Come on, in 09.
In 09. And
that's the Cleveland team.
Yeah,
okay, and name somebody on that. Name somebody on that 09 Cleveland team. Name somebody on that 09 Cleveland team that meant something.
I know it was Mo Williams.
Mo Williams. Here we go with Mo Williams again and El Gauskas. So who was the man on that team?
What's the point there, though? They got to the Eastern Conference Finals against a team that they should have beaten. They should have beaten
that Orlando squad. That Atlanta squad was low key loaded.
Y'all, okay, I'm gonna let you have
They loaded.
Oh, nice.
They were low key. Turkaloo, Rashard Lewis, Jameer Nelson, all of them was balling at that time. Dwight Howard, who I am tired of y'all disrespecting Dwight Howard, should have been in the top 75, was playing like an absolute monster. And what was LeBron supposed to do? He was outmatched.
Yeah, you're right. No, he wasn't outmatched. He got shut down. He couldn't shoot. They took his weakness. He couldn't shoot.
Okay, so I'll give you 09. So what happened in 2010 when he gets to Miami and then they get swept by Dirk? He gets swept by Dirk and them in the first round.
First of all, Bynum was hurt half the season.
But Bynum wasn't that important though.
That team was already.
You say he was?
I say he was.
That team was dismantling. They were. I'll say, yeah, okay. After they, went to the finals 3 straight times and won 2 of them, they wet the bed in 2011.
It happens. But honestly, for Dirk, let's give Dirk. Dirk was on a mission. But I do have that team was better.
That team was absolutely. It was just better. They were a.
JJ Barea was running around, couldn't be guarded. No one was guarding JJ Barea that whole playoff series.
JJ was that was a bad dude. 5'6".
Oh yeah.
So do you say that 2011 team is better than? I'm sorry, is that roster is better than the Kobe team in 09?
What roster?
I'm asking Will mostly because he says the
2011. He's speaking facts. It was starting to break down right by 2010, 2011. That's when Bynum knees started going out, and then Bynum started going kind of crazy. Lamar Odom.
I have the 09 roster, by the way. I have Anderson Varejao because I know you.
Varejao, okay.
Varejao wasn't that bad, but then there's Ben Wallace was on that team.
Yes, he was. Old man Ben Wallace. He was old as dirt by then.
Well, Delonte West, he was actually pretty. He wasn't bad. Delonte, don't do that to him. Wally Zerbiak.
Oh, Wally Zerbiak, huh? Mr. Don't think Shea should be in the All-Star game, Wally Zerbiak.
JJ Hickson, who used to dunk on people and everything.
JJ Hickson, no, I know JJ Hickson. JJ Hickson from Georgia.
And Tristan Thompson was on the team, which I don't know.
Yeah, he was young.
Tristan Thompson then.
He was young. Look at all these players. Look at these nobodies.
These are decent. They're decent. I mean, they're not great, but it was a decent squad. It was decent.
And it took Kobe to get a Hall of Fame to finally get over that hump.
You know
he had to get him a Hall of Famer.
Paul
Gasol ain't a Hall of Famer. Paul Gasol ain't a Hall of Famer.
Well, he looked like he about to make it.
He about to make the Hall of Fame. You think?
Because of Kobe, though, he's making the Hall of Fame.
Oh my God! Because it's Kobe.
I agree. Once again, this is flawed. When did LeBron James win a championship without a Hall of Famer? I'll give you 2 of them he won a championship with. Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Oh, yeah, by the way, the second time they won a championship, Ray Allen was on that team. Let's see. Mike Miller was on that team. All
Who's
shooters.
Top 5 shooter.
Like, you got
Mike Miller, top 5. Yeah.
Maybe.
Mike Miller, top 5 shooters. No, don't do that.
He also had Richard Jefferson.
Michael was
one
straight.
point. What are we talking about?
Yeah, he did.
He got a bunch of Hall of Famers
and then the Cleveland team.
And you talking
about
with one Hall of Famer who wasn't really even known in the league until he kept the big move. And then it was
how was Paul Gasol? Paul Gasol was the number 3 pick in the draft. How was he not known?
Powell was known as a soft big
Lonzo
man.
Ball is the number 2 pick in the draft a couple years ago. That don't mean we're gonna know him 20 years from now.
I think we will. But
no.
We will.
All I'm just saying, Paul Gasol, like I said, maybe I knew about Paul Gasol when he played for Vancouver/Memphis, but that's because, I follow basketball. I knew about Paul Gasol, and they fleeced him. Hold on, let me say this. I'm going to change that narrative. They really didn't fleece them on the trade because Memphis did get Marc Gasol. We all thought they did because we didn't think Marc Gasol was going to turn into what he turned into. So I think it was a pretty even trade. And yes, they did get cheated. They should have got Chris Paul. that the NBA did do them wrong. The NBA did do them wrong by not getting Chris Paul.
It wasn't the NBA. It was David. It was
totally
David
different
Stern.
conversation and Chris Paul came over. But I won't even get into that.
It actually helps Kobe's case that Chris Paul is going to be a Hall of Famer. So it actually helps Kobe's case that he didn't come.
The thing is, right?
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. This is what I'm talking about. Kobe did toughen him up, which is why he's going to make the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Pau Gasol, are we honestly going to say Pau Gasol was going to make the Hall of Fame if he never played with Kobe?
No, he wasn't.
I would say that. I think he could have.
Boom.
That's a tough argument.
I mean, if he would have stuck it out with Memphis and built this team, I think he could have made it. Paul Gasol was a skilled big man. He was skilled. He had passing skills. He had a post game. He had a mid range. He was decent on defense. I'm not going to say he was Embiid or Anthony Davis, but he was not a bad defender. Paul Gasol, I mean, folks was mad when the Lakers traded for Paul Gasol because they felt like the Lakers got away with one. People knew who Paul Gasol was. Y'all just trying to down that man's career, man.
I'm not downplaying him.
I'm
just saying we're acting like he was just this big name. He was not known as a top 5 power forward at the time he got traded. He was still a young player in the league, and not a lot of people knew about him. Yes, he was known as being soft, not a defender. He wasn't known for his skills yet.
Not yet.
He was just known as raw talent, just like Dirk was when he first came into the league, who formed into a much better player, but he was never going to get to a Dirk level. However, the thing is, right, LeBron went and played with people that were already established. Dwayne Wade had already won a championship a couple years back, and he brought over Chris Bosh too. He also he went in and did the exact same thing that Kobe did plus one when he went back to Cleveland. He brought Kevin Love in, and he also brought in Kyrie Irving. So this argument that Kobe had to play with a Hall of Famer, like, that's ridiculous because LeBron had to do the exact same thing. So did Jordan. Jordan wasn't getting past the Pistons until Scottie got there.
I mean, he didn't ask him, though. They drafted him. And first of all, if y'all look at those stats, man, Scottie did okay. But that was still Michael Jordan.
Assists, rebounds, and steals.
Leave Scottie alone. Okay.
But then when it came time, when like the Detroit Pistons, I got a migraine. When it's time to win, it was Michael Jordan.
Well, it wasn't because of Scottie. Play with a migraine. I'm not going to act like and say I'm not going to play with a migraine.
I don't believe he had a migraine. I think he was scared. I don't think he had a migraine. I think he was scared.
But that's the whole point of him not being the number one. The number one, the best players, the greatest players, always bring the toughness. Kobe was that guy. His leadership was just different. His leadership is probably second to none. His leadership is absolutely different. Outside of Michael Jordan beating Love.
I mean, what you mean? Who did he help other than Paul Gasol with leadership? Then, if you're gonna say he helped Paul Gasol, he ran off. Like I said, he ran off Dwight Howard. He ran off all these other players. I'm just saying, y'all talking about Kobe with what leadership?
Ask Ron Artest. Ask all them guys that he played with. They will tell you that he was very.
Derek Fisher.
Oh, I forgot Trevor.
Gordon Farmar, Sasha Vujacic. All of these dudes, the only person in that 5 right there that was known really was Meta. Outside of that, Trevor Ariza, Jordan Farmar, Sasha Vujacic, like all these dudes weren't known. Lamar Odom also was good for was decent for maybe 1 to 2 years prior to.
I don't know about that. I don't know. The LA Clipper Lamar Odom was a bad play. Them demons was getting him a little bit, but I don't know.
Lamar Odom was a good player, but he was not. He definitely was not. He wasn't doing that thing, right? If Kobe never played with him, we wouldn't be talking about Lamar Odom. We wouldn't be talking about Pau Gasol.
Okay.
Like, let's be real. These people would not, because Pau Gasol also left the Lakers 2 years after. And he was still not prime, but he was still on the cusp of prime. He went to the Spurs and did absolutely nothing.
I want you to bring up William.
I don't know.
Well, you can say what you want to say. Go ahead and say what you want to say. But
I disagree with that. But no. Go ahead.
I was gonna say because you always talk about this little trade. So I'm gonna let Mocheeks let you know about this trade because you keep on talking about the Kobe begged for a trade. I want you to express that because you love saying he begged. Go ahead.
I mean, no. I only bring that up when people try to say LeBron cried and begged for help, and I like to remind Kobe fans that he requested to be traded and was out here punking the Lakers for them to go fleece Memphis. That's all I said. But I only get that when people try to get on and say LeBron begged for help.
All right. First of all, when Kobe begs for help, I will say Kobe begged for help, and rightfully so. Go back and look at 2005, 6, and 7.
Yeah, rightfully so. For the gym, that was the Jim Buss era, right?
Yeah, that was bad. Those were rough times.
Oh yeah.
And legs are going out. He knows he's a great player. Like you need some help, right? However, let's be clear. When Kobe begged for help and asked for a certain move, he made the right move. When LeBron begs for help, it's most likely the wrong move. Let's start there. Second, LeBron did beg for help. He got help, got beat in 2009. This was when LeBron was planning to leave initially. He begged for that help. 2009, they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he loses. And then a year later, the following year, actually, he left for real, right? Like, whereas Kobe, I get it. He begged. He definitely begged. However, like, he was never leaving LA unless they didn't try. The time at that point in time, management wasn't trying. They were just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna sit on this. 2005, who was his center? Exactly. Nobody remembers who his center was. Derek Fisher had gone. He went to Utah for a couple of years.
Biner didn't come to 2006.
He came 2007 and got hurt immediately, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't bringing that man any help. Chris Mihm.
Even you're laughing, Will.
I mean, that was kind of like Chris Mihm. I forgot about Chris
Mihm. That's the white dude.
It's one thing when you're trying to bring in recruiting talent, but it's one thing when you're just not trying.
But I will say, I think this though. He did get good Dwayne Wade, because I tell people, if Miami would have figured out a way to beat Dallas that year in that championship, Dwayne Wade was going to win Finals MVP. He was absolutely balling. But after that, Dwayne Wade started breaking down, and he wasn't. In fact, that was one of the reasons why Miami struggled to get San Antonio that first time they should have lost, because Dwayne Wade was starting to break down. Dwayne Wade's knees were starting to go. In 2012, they went, right? They was gone. So he only got really 1.5 good year, Dwayne Wade, where Kobe had got 5, 6 good years of Paul Gasol. If he had
5 or 6, maybe 3.
So maybe 3.
No, they went to the finals.
Yeah. But Kobe had to push Pau Gasol to be more of a scorer.
Exactly. But he had the opportunity where LeBron's guy was breaking down and Chris Bosh couldn't figure out his role. So
that's disrespectful. Dwayne Wade, he may have been breaking down, but Dwayne Wade's game, yes, because he was more of a slasher. Yeah, he's gonna break down. However, like, Dwayne Wade was still playing after that, and he was still pretty efficient. He still, even in the finals when they went back in 14 and lost to the Spurs, he was pretty freaking efficient. Like, they just didn't. That team, that Miami team, needed a leader. They needed a point guard, and LeBron James was more, or they needed a scorer, and LeBron James was more of a facilitator. He never took that role until he came back to Cleveland. That was the year when they beat the Warriors. That was probably his best feat, because he actually took on the role of a facilitator and a scorer instead of just kind of passing around. Right? He missed a lot of shots, open shots that he just didn't take when he was in Miami. Dwayne Wade wasn't breaking down. He was still a phenomenal player at that point in time. Dwayne Wade just took a back seat to LeBron at that point. He just said, hey, like, I can't do it 82 games and go through these.
Snap. I'm done. I'm sorry.
That is
Mr. Stevens.
Nobody would ever guard Kobe like the Spurs did, Bron. They guard him like this.
That's disrespectful to Bron.
That is very disrespectful. I don't speak Benjamin on this podcast, but okay, go ahead.
So we go.
Leonard gave him space, but he didn't Ben Simmons him.
I mean, not Ben Simmons.
He more Russell. It was more Russell Westbrook now.
I mean,
they back off and then they be like, okay, let me go up. It's one of them.
Westbrook get disrespected pretty bad.
I mean,
okay, fine, Rondo.
But I mean, that was LeBron's weakness, though. So of course they're gonna make him shoot until he starts knocking down jump shots. And that year that they lost to the Spurs, they needed LeBron to be more of a scorer, and he didn't start working on the scorer role, which he could score in the paint. But once you lock the paint down, like LeBron just wasn't as efficient.
But even in that finals, LeBron averaged 30 points a game on like 58% shooting. I mean, what else more?
Greatest to do it. He's not going to not score.
I mean, he had I think it was 30, 11, and 9 on 58% shooting. What more can a man do? Like I said, Dwayne Wade was breaking down. Bosh was done. He tried to lead him. He couldn't. Like I said, Kobe got the benefit of that because he kept Paul Gasol longer. You know what I'm saying? Dwayne Wade was breaking down. That is a known fact. Them knees were starting to go. I got LeBron over Kobe. Look here, I'll say this.
What was your top 10 again? You want to repeat it?
I'll repeat my top 10. My top 10, and I'm going to tell you each reason why. My top 10,
Ooh.
Michael Jordan, of course.
Not a summary.
We don't need no summary why Michael Jordan's the greatest. I got LeBron at 2. Now, I get you with Kareem, but Kareem to me is over Kobe because, again, he did it longer. He did it longer than Kobe.
But like Mo said, it was because of who he had with him. He had a choice to do it longer. Like, I'm sorry, he had more of a cushion.
I mean, so did Kobe. I mean, again.
No, Kobe.
Say what you say about. Yes, he did. Okay, I'm not saying Paul Gasol is Kareem. No, I'm not saying that. But again, he added a Hall of Famer that helped extend it. He needed more extension to his career, right? Because that's why he was getting mad, right? Because he was struggling, right? Because he ain't had no good players, right? So he asked for Paul Gasol, right? Paul Gasol extended his career, right? Because without Paul, because he wouldn't have won without Paul Gasol, right? Would he have won without Paul Gasol?
I agree.
If he would have got KG, because he almost got KG.
However,
he
did almost get KG, and that would have been
of Powell.
However, the difference is, right? You're looking at the offensive side of the ball. Kobe was still a phenomenal. Kobe carried that team. Outside of Trevor Ariza or Metta World Peace, who were both defenders, there were no other defenders on those teams. Kobe was a defensive vocalist. That dude was on the defensive not player of the year, but all team first and second defense for a reason. He steered that team defensively. That's why they were so tough. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did not have to do anything defensively. He wasn't really there.
No. Kareem was a defensive force there. The only time I seen Kareem struggle in the finals is when Moses Malone was giving him the business against the Sixers. That was the only time I seen Kareem. But Kareem was definitely a defensive standpoint for them. And then, hold on. And on top of that,
when he had to guard Kevin McHale, he got work until James.
I mean, he was like 39 years old by then. I'm just saying.
My point. He didn't have to do much.
But hold on. But this is the thing. When Magic came in, Kareem was the best player. Kareem won MVP that year. He won MVP that year. Kareem won MVP 2 of them years with Magic. He won MVP.
He didn't win Magic's rookie year.
He did win. He won. Look it up. He won season MVP. Magic rookie year. Now Magic won Finals MVP, but Kareem won the MVP that year when Magic got there his rookie year, and then I think he won it the year after next. He won MVP. So let's not act like Magic got here right and helped Kareem just carry this team to the championship. No, Kareem was the reason. Magic helped, and then they got it to Magic after that.
So you tell
me after 81 or 2
after 82, after they won that championship 82, it transitioned to Magic team after that. Because if I'm right, they won one, lost one, right, and then they won again. Kareem won that Finals MVP that year. So that's what I'm saying. Kareem did just as good. So that's what I'm saying. Kareem with the long career, and then if you also want to throw in high school and college, Kareem has
arguably the greatest career of
the basketball. That's why y'all New Yorkers think y'all the Mecca because of Kareem and people like that.
Right? But where you're flawed is the fact that you think that just there's not another point guard in that era from 1975 to I'll
give
you Oscar in that common point that comes to the Lakers that will get them to the championship. Magic Johnson steered them through their first championship as a rookie. Kareem doesn't get that championship if he's not on that team. Same thing with the next championship. Same thing with the next championship. So the fact, once again, that you have Magic at 4 and Kobe's on the outside looking in, when Kobe did the exact same thing with Shaq. Kareem, yes, was the most dominant player. Everybody feared the sky hook. However, he was not the best player on the team. And we got to stop going by this MVP thing. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs over Kobe Bryant, which we know is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Especially, one of them should have went to Shaq, but Kobe.
Yeah, first one should have went to Shaq.
And then the other one should have went to Kobe. So I just want to say one.
But hold on, we're not going to act like that 7-second offense didn't have everybody amazed, and Steve Nash was running that 7-second offense.
Oh look, Steve
sure, it was. Great. He was great, but he was averaging 18 and 10 assists, and Kobe was over here averaging 35. Like
I think it's because of his team, though.
These were the years where he was ripping teams to shreds.
But their record wasn't good. I think that's why.
Exactly. Their record wasn't good.
It's about the MVP race. You have to be You have to be one of the top teams, or at least doing something astronomical, which Steve Nash was not.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to win. So I get why they do that, but I think they should change it. I think because that one argument that T Mac had with Shaq, I think that was true. He was like, look, I'm over here averaging back when 34 was huge. Remember when T-Mac was averaging 34? Mm-hmm. But they were like the 7th seed. And I think he was averaging 34 and 8 and 7. You know, he could do everything. T-Mac could do it. But he had, I think Yao got injured. He was always injured. But he probably should have won that year over Tim Duncan. I'm just saying. He probably should have that one year. T-Mac had a good point. He was like, look, what I think Mo Cheek said it too about Manu and some other good players he had on his team. But T-Mac probably should have won that year. That man was going crazy and ripping
and lost in the first round of playoffs.
Okay, fine, but that's not what we judge by the so-called MVP. We judge it by the regular season. Well, he's supposed to go lose in the first round with the people that he had. Oh, can you name anyone else that played with Tracy McGrady besides Yao?
Oh, okay.
I want you to name them.
Once again, I think that the MVP
William
is a popularity contest. It's nothing but a contest. At that point, right? We're not gonna. There was no way Kobe was winning any MVP after they chose him over Shaq. He had a sexual assault allegation against him, right? Like Kobe wasn't everybody's favorite guy. Kobe wasn't everybody's favorite guy when he came into the league because he got put onto the Lakers. Right, they traded for him, and there were a lot of players there were a lot of guards on that team already. Henceforth, the reason Gary Vitti didn't want to play him the first year of his career. Right, like let's be real, it's all semantics when it comes to the MVP race, and going back to this whole like Kareem thing. Like Kareem is a phenomenal player, one of the greatest careers of all time. 6 championships, I get it. 3 Finals MVPs.
Overall career from high school to the league, Slick has the best career. I'm just saying because he's won every single year.
Yeah. However, if he doesn't get Magic, or even like you can give him, like I said, you can give him Isaiah. You can give him any other point guard in that era.
Oh Lord, him with the bad boys would have been funny.
And my man would not win another championship. I guarantee. Okay. Magic was the difference maker in that championship.
So you're saying Kobe would have won? Kobe would have won with whoever, basically. Right.
When the first couple of years, I think Kobe would have gotten 8, like he would have gotten 3 to 4 championships. Most like 4 is tough.
And you're saying without Shaq that they would have won? I'm just asking, just because people say that he would.
Not without Shaq. I don't think they would have. Well, yeah, I mean they would have won.
Well, against Philly, they probably would have beat them.
Not on that team, they would not have won.
I think they would have beat Philly. I don't know about the Nets because the Nets.
I mean, it depends. That's the problem. Like, it depends on where we're talking about Kobe is. If Kobe starts off with the Lakers, it depends on who they get as a big man. Like, they're gonna need a big man in that time and era. Like,
in that era, okay,
right? Like, you need a big man to play basketball. However, you put him on a different team, I don't think Kobe's winning.
Mr. Stevens, you about to get William upset.
William ain't gonna get upset because we're gonna have to wrap this show up in a few minutes. But I'll say like this. Let me finish the list up. So I said, like I had MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Magic.
And you said you was gonna explain.
Bird 5, Wilt 6, Russell 7, Shaq 8, Hakeem the Dream 9, Steph Curry 10.
Okay. I don't think that's both of y'all top 10 is not bad, but well, you don't have Kobe in yours, so it's stupid. But I guess
what?
Yeah, I can't agree with that.
I mean, like I said, if you don't want to have him in your top 5, cool. I feel I don't whatever. But him and not in the top 10 is just bugging. And I'm just hoping you learned your lesson today and you gain knowledge and you move on and you just go, live your best life. Yeah, Wilt and Bill, child. I don't know. I mean, I get it. The numbers are what they are. But if someone was to leave them out of the top 10, I wouldn't be like ready to gasp.
Like I said, and that's why I said I agree with Nick Wright when he did his list of the past 50 years, which took out Bill and Will and all that. Which it is kind of hard to gauge Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. I will admit that. And if I truly don't count them, then yes, Kobe is in my top 10, of course.
I feel
like you just gotta add Wilt because first of all, you look up any scoring record, Wilt's name is there.
I didn't see it.
There. It's there. And Bill Russell, I mean,
there's no footage, no highlights. At least I can see highlights of.
I can send you some. I can see you some highlights.
That ain't no real highlights. They're black and white. I can barely see them. I guess.
I mean,
and they're over 5'8" people, but that was the era. That was the era.
That was there. But that's what I'm saying. It's real tough because even Oscar Robertson should have an argument in the top 10 also. You know what I'm saying?
He should. But
that's what I said. If you take them out, then yes, I'll have Kobe in my top 10. He'll be 10. But
you know what? Fine. At least you can go. Go ahead. You want to be.
But that's why I said no hate to Kobe. And then before we wrap it up, I just want you to say, hold on, Jess. Was it Mo? Who's this? Luke. Oh Lord, he played Plumbers and
Not Mad Dog. Yeah, he basically did because Mad Dog thinks Bob Cousy is better than.
Mad Dog Trip
and Magic and people like that. He be bugging like it's crazy.
So let me ask you this, Mo. Do you think Kobe, and I'll let you end off like this, do you think Kobe is a game changer? Because that was one of the things I said Kobe is not a style game changer because his style and his game ain't nothing but a Michael Jordan clone.
Ooh, those are fighting words.
He's changing. He's changing the way we see the game.
Yeah, so the reason why I put Steph over Kobe is because Steph changed this game. Now, for better or for worse, we can all argue about that later, but he changed the game.
Or how about KD got 7-footers doing
KD got 7-footers. Michael Jordan was the first 6'6" guard. LeBron is an abnormality, stuff like that. Do you feel like Kobe's style and game should be considered a game changer?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because we've never seen another player with the same A, work ethic, and B, the same footwork as Kobe Bryant. Not even Hakeem Olajuwon. There's nobody on this earth that went from
that might be true.
Should have been just just a regular player in the NBA, right? But the way he framed his game, the way he worked at his game, work ethic is unmatched. Like he created a different monster in different players, and he showed
that's right, sir.
How average goes to how
that
average
is true
phenomenon. And he brought in low top shoes. So
okay, like I said, this is a great debate. Like I said, no, and I'll say this: he has all great points. He definitely has great points. And like I said, I can definitely see why people put Kobe top 10. He just ain't in my top 10. You can call me a Kobe hater just like I'm the Tatum hater also.
You didn't make my head hurt that much. I felt like you made my elbow itch, but it's okay. Oh, yeah, you'll live. But no, I mean, everything was said that was completely, it was right.
It's a tough argument.
It is.
It's tough. It's a lot of ins and outs to that. So I'll give you that. It's a bad news.
But thank you for admitting Wilt could leave and you would put in Kobe. You basically admitted that he basically should be in the top.
I mean, if I have to do within the last 50 years, yes. But I mean, if I have to count everybody, then Wilt's over him.
And you agreed with Max, didn't you? Remember Max Kellerman when he said that Kawhi was more clutch than Kobe? Let's end on that because you said something stupid. And I want you to say that. I want us to end on this.
I think I was trolling. I ain't gonna lie, I was trolling on that one. I was trolling with you.
Okay. because I know we're high on Kawhi, who don't really want to play a game.
But over Embiid and he's not more clutch. That's ridiculous.
I'll just say I was trolling that time. I just was messing with you on that one. Like I said, Kobe definitely is one of the most clutch players. He ain't the most clutchest one of all time.
Okay, fine, but just leave on a good note. You say he's one of the.
We'll leave on a good note, and let's say like this. As the end of the At the Buzzer special episode podcast, I'd like to thank Mo Cheeks for joining us. Thank you so much. And you're always welcome to debate me and lose these debates. I'm just kidding. Anytime.
I don't know, honey. You might have lost this one pretty bad, but I guess.
Whatever. And we here every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the At the Buzzer podcast. So I am your host, King Will.
And I'm Jess. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all Tuesday.
Bye.